best of bias. You need the earful, you should try us. From pop culture to the movies to unite us. It's the best of bias. The best of bias. It's the best of bias.
You are now listening to the Best of Bias podcast with Lydell, Dinero, and Hugo Twilight.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Lydell, Dinero, and it's time for another episode of the Best of Bias podcast. Man, I told you we back in full effect. No more vacation. We back hitting you with new stuff every week. We got a new guest in the building. I will let her introduce herself. Who do I have with me today?
Hi, everyone. I'm Jen Vega. Nice to meet y'all.
Hey, we always get new guests in here. We wanted you to meet another part of the Best of Bias family, man. I'm trying to get her on here for a long time now, and I'm glad she's actually doing it. Man, you're always super busy with your career and everything. What you got going? Like, what's going on with life? It's been a while. We met over there in Chico, in college, so grown up now. What you got going?
Chico days are way behind us now. I currently work in marketing for a startup tech company in Palo Alto. They literally work all day. They're working on building a useful quantum computer. So it's really, really cool stuff. I learn a lot. I had like a quantum physics 101 class through them. And I'm like, the teams, they all have PhDs. They're like physicists, they're scientists. They're just working hard to get that computer done. And one of our top competitors is IBM. So it's really interesting to kind of shift into the tech sector and just be around really smart people that are really passionate about creating something that can ultimately change the world. Like a quantum computer can solve problems that a regular computer cannot. And so, I do marketing for them. We have a team there, and that's where I'm at now. That's what I'm doing.
That's really, really dope. That's really, really dope. How you get into that? Like quantum computers, God damn, you're a regular Tony Stark. What's going on?
It's really funny because a lot of people don't know what a quantum computer is, myself included. Now I know a lot more. But I was ready to just kind of make a shift in my life. I looked at, the cost of living for Santa Clara. I live in Santa Clara. And I really looked at my skill set and was like, you know what, I've been working in the industry for 6 years. I need to kind of pivot and change. And so when I was looking through openings, I saw marketing for quantum computer, and I had heard about quantum computing before because my fiance's best friend is working on creating quantum computing chess to be played on any quantum computer. And so I've had heard the term before, and it didn't look too foreign. And I was like, oh, I can go for it. I can try it out and see, if I'm a fit. And it turns out I'm a fit. So
that's epic as fuck. Congratulations. It seems like you're enjoying it, and I'm proud of you. That's dope. What does a quantum computer do? What is that? What's the difference between a regular computer and a quantum computer?
So if I break it down, and people out there in the world, don't quote me. Basically, a quantum computer, first of all, it's built completely different. So a regular computer is built using ones and zeros, and a quantum computer doesn't process ones and zeros. So you have to find out a way that it still takes the information and process it back out. And that's one of the biggest challenges. So there are quantum computers out there right now, but they don't solve some of the issues that you need, like some of the math formulas, if you will, that you need. And so quantum computers, the ones we're building, is focused on photons. And so that one has a better error correction code. Anyway, I'm getting too into the details. The point is, quantum computers solve really big math problems that regular computers cannot. And so they're able to simulate like thousands of things all at once, whereas a computer is more old school and can only do so much. Like the processing power is so limited, right? And so the hope is that once a useful one is built, you're able to kind of input one of the biggest like climate crisis things in there. You can tackle oil, you can tackle just so many different things because it's able to analyze and take that data and give you different answers for it. And so
that's hella dope.
Quantum computer is going to change the world.
It's going to change the world. How long did it take to build one? Like, so to take like years and years, or?
Well, what we're saying right now is the next useful quantum computers can be built within the next decade, so it's not too
Oh,
far away.
okay.
And then I don't know if you saw, but Joe Biden actually invested some money into quantum computing because right now it's kind of a race to build the most useful quantum computer, and China is kind of leading that. And
Right.
there's a scare that they'll be able to like, in, encryption, the passwords, they'll be able to break that with a quantum computer super easily because
Mm-hmm.
again, they're able to process and solve these mathematical equations that regular computers just cannot.
Oh, wow. Okay, look at you. That is amazing. That is amazing. Well, good luck and hope you guys definitely do it before China does. I got my money on y'all though. I got my money on y'all. But I don't know if you're familiar with the show. Basically, we get on here to talk about pop culture topics, depending on kind of the topic. Usually we do show reviews, pop culture topics, sports, whatever the bias is, you bring it to the table, we talk about it. Since we got you here, we're just gonna talk about some pop culture. How do you feel about that?
Let's do it.
Cool. Since this last week, not a lot happened in pop culture that I didn't talk about, but some stuff did slip between the cracks that I do want to get into. Starting with though, Michael Blackson. Since you just said I didn't know you were engaged. Congratulations, first and foremost.
Thank
But
you.
that fits right into what this topic is right here. So Michael Blackson is engaged as well. His wife, I did talk about this a couple of weeks ago with AKA, but Best of Bias listeners, again, we didn't have a female's perspective on this. We said what we said. You guys go back and listen to that and you guys can rehash that. But he says that he is able to have one side chick a month, and his fiance allows it, and she's able to have a side chick a month as well, but she's not allowed to have a dude because that's quote Michael Blackson, too many dicks in the relationship, which is a very weird concept to me. I just wanted to see how you felt about that.
Man, okay, there's so many different things, so many different feelings for me. But first and foremost, you have to respect everyone's relationship and how
Absolutely.
they, want to manage that.
Mm-hmm.
My opinion on it is if it works for you, it works for you. But what bothers me is that she can only have a woman.
Yeah.
As a person that identifies as queer, like often women aren't looked as equal. I mean, equal as a man, and so they're less than, and so that was what rubbed me the wrong way. Like, oh, okay, so she can have a woman because he probably doesn't see them as a threat, right? Like, he's not a woman himself, there's no real competition there. But the reality is many people live in these lives where they have multiple partners, and sometimes they fall in love with the same sex, and then it does become a bigger issue, and then it's brought back to the core relationship. And so that was something that I was really excited to want to bring that to the show, because I don't think that that's maybe been thought about either. Like, why is it that only a woman is allowed but not a guy, right? Like,
it was really weird, especially his kind of tone. He's a comedian, so me personally, I think this was a shtick to get him kind of like talked about back in the media again. I really don't think he's serious. I hope not, because that is very, very stupid, especially if she's okay with bringing a girl into the relationship. What if she does fall in love with one of the girls? It's still bringing the problem that he kind of says a male would bring. It's kind of like, so, yeah, it doesn't really make sense. I don't think he's thought about it much. I think that's just something he has been going around saying on interviews that has put him back in the media. Because
I mean, but do you get bored in your relationship? Like, it's a real question. Like,
no, yeah.
If it works for them, it works for them, I guess.
And
it could never work for me. I get too jealous, and then I get too attached. So it wouldn't happen.
I feel that for sure. Same with me as well. I would get absolutely way too jealous, and that's as far as it would go. The jealousy, not even an attachment thing. It's just like, God damn, like if that's what you want, you gotta. If you want somebody else, just have somebody else. We ain't gonna be doing this kind of and it's too much. I can barely hold a regular phone conversation. I don't think me personally dealing with me and another person relationship is too much. I don't know. But Michael Blackson, whatever helps you in your relationship, they're not even married yet. And this is the kind of shit they have on their relationship. What happens when they get married?
Yeah. I mean, probably the same thing. I don't know. Like,
he got to be making money or something. Because the only thing I seen him do pretty much was that his thing was next Friday, the motherfucker thing. and he rode that for a long time. He was on Wild 'N Out. He had some stand-ups, but I guess he is making some money to make, or you're doing something else, because got a girl like that can just say, okay, you can do whatever you want to do. I don't know. I don't know if he's the most attractive man. I don't really judge men like that, but I don't think he's the most attractive man in the world to be having her spellbound to be like, okay, it's okay. It must be, it's got
It might be something else.
You know what I'm saying? It got to be something else, because god damn. And he be
But I don't
dressing so
know.
goofy. Oh,
I don't know
God.
if attraction has anything to do with it. I mean, it just must be like an understanding, or I mean, I think you do make a good point. Like if you're not married and you are exploring this, I guess that's a good way of figuring out if it's
Yeah.
gonna work out in the end anyway. So
Yeah. Hollywood.
yeah.
It's a crazy place. Speaking of Hollywood, what a transition. I'm good at this. I'm so good at this. Michael B. Jordan and Lori Harvey, they break off a relationship. I think they were engaged. They might have been engaged, and they were only together for about a year. But it seemed like it was a very long time. But I guess the world was shocked to see that they finally have broken up. Some people say they weren't so surprised, being as Michael B. Jordan has never dated a black woman in his life. And for all of a sudden, him to be dating a black woman, people thought it was like, oh, look, he's dating a black woman. He does like black women. He doesn't only like white women, so everybody like him. I'm not saying that's true. I'm just saying what media is kind of saying. I thought they were a good couple, and I thought they were going to be together for a while. Yeah, Michael B. Jordan's my twin anyway, so I always try to look out and see what's best for him, but I'm just playing. But what did you feel about this breakup? Do you think it was a real relationship? Do you think they were in love and they just fell apart? What do you think
Listen,
happened?
I do think that it was a relationship. I think they were super cute. I'm really sad that they're not together. I thought they would make it for longer than a year. But I think she was what, like 10 years younger than him. Like
I don't know.
I think that might have made a difference. I don't know. I am super bummed. I don't think that it was fake. Why do you think it was fake, or why does the media think it was fake?
They don't really have a strong opinion. You know, Black Twitter, sometimes they just latch on to something and just kind of go with it. But they're kind of saying that since he never dated a black woman before, he was trying to date Lori Harvey to kind of say, oh, look, I do like black
To get
women,
them
this
quiet.
relationship, and yeah, and his noise and his fans and stuff will just kind of be quiet about it. But me personally, I never thought it was going to work. Lori Harvey's dating record, what was it? P. Diddy, Future, goddamn, all these Trey Songs, all these dudes that are kind of like I'll date you for a little while, and they're kind of upper echelon kind of dudes. So Michael B. Jordan kind of had to expect that this was going to happen. And I don't know. I just thought that Michael B. Jordan would have seen this coming from a mile away. She supposedly broke it off with him, saying that she wasn't ready to commit, which it was another obvious thing. I just don't know who's going to take down more men, her or Kim Kardashian. But they are doing their thing. Shout out to them though. For real, for real. But
Well, I want to see who he's gonna date next. That's my personal opinion on that.
yeah, he's on a sob tour right now. He was at the Warriors game directly after the breakup. Everybody was zooming in on his face, talking about it. Steve Harvey was in the media making fun of him. Um, I don't know. I think this like it might just all be a ploy to make him the sympathetic figure, and the next person he's gonna date is to be like, see what she did to him. She made him run back to the white girls. I don't know. I don't know. I like Michael B. Jordan, and I'm happy about his ascension and his place in Hollywood right now. So don't let that distract you, brother. You'll be all right. You'll be all right.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He is fine. He'll be okay.
Yeah, it's just Lori Harvey will find her next too. She's young. She is 10 years younger than him. God damn. I don't really know how old he is. He might be in like mid 30s. So yeah, I
I
wouldn't.
think
I
he's in
would.
his mid 30s. I think she's like what, 25, 26. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
big age difference. I mean, and then if he is getting more serious with his career, I mean, he's done a lot. He might just be looking for something else. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. That's what's up, though. I mean, shouts out to them again. Hollywood is a strange place. Hollywood is a strange place. Speaking of Mr. Hollywood himself, Nick Cannon, let's transition into this.
Oh
He
boy.
is expecting his ninth child with I don't know the woman's name, but I'm sure everybody else does. Best of Bias listeners, I know you guys probably heard this already. But he's expecting his ninth child by another woman. I think he already has 2 sets of twins, so that's
Mhm.
4. So he has 5 other kids by other women, separate women. So
Mhm.
yeah, how do you feel about this?
I was surprised that he had another one with that lady. I don't know her name either. That he already has kids with. I thought
Mhm.
it would have been a different person. But he
Okay.
keeps saying that he's done making babies and that he's not gonna do babies anymore. And like every few months, he just pops back up on the timeline, like, hey, I'm having another baby.
Yeah, it's kind of wild to me, but I feel like, man, he does. I listened to a podcast. He was on the Joe Budden podcast, I think, this week, and he was kind of talking about all the stuff he had his hands in, how long he is in his 40s now. I didn't even notice that, but he has been kind of his in Hollywood and doing things since the 90s. And he
Mhm.
was talking about how he, as a like 20-year-old, he had stakes. He owned or was a CEO of like Teen Nick. And that's
Oh.
when he first kind of started doing Wildin' Out. So he was doing Teen Nick and Wildin' Out at the same time. And he completely owns all that stuff. And now he like owns a stake in like ABC. And I think he helped create the show Mass Singer and all this stuff
Oh.
like that. So all the shows that he's involved in, he's basically has personal stakes in. So I feel like him and Kanye are on this shit where it's like, okay, I'm gonna buy a bunch of land and just create a village for me and my family.
Your village is all of your kids and your
Yeah, and he's like,
family.
yeah, that was his plan to like Kanye West on some weird shit to like fight abortion. He was like, all the kids that don't, if you have to put kids up for adoption, is given to me, and I'll take them to this plot of land, this community I'm making in Wyoming, and I'll just raise all the children. It was just wild, and I feel like Nick Cannon's kind of on that kind of weird shit. Not really weird. If he wants to have hella babies and make a family, a legacy for himself, all means, by all means, go ahead and do that. And I'm sure he has enough money to do so. But it's like shit, it's all a bunch of different women too. I understand if it was one woman, but it's like you're you're bringing a whole bunch of different women in there, a bunch of different families' lives, and there's no way you can spend time with all these kids.
I heard, now you could tell me as a male, that men have this like need to spread their seeds just across the world. Like that's like a need that they have to continue their legacy by any means necessary. Like having one child isn't enough. Like they just need to continue spreading the seeds. Is that something you've experienced? Is that true? That's what I'm thinking maybe Nick is experiencing. I don't know.
Probably something my dad was experiencing, shit. But I think that's something probably you experience after you have your first child. I don't know. It's kind of
Mm,
like a different experience. And then once you do see the feeling of having that child and how they look at you, you just want to just keep spreading the seed, especially if you're having relationship issues with the person you had the first child with, and it's like just because I don't have a good relationship doesn't mean I want to stop having kids.
true. Or if you're not married, you don't have like that set household, maybe you're like,
Hmm.
well, let me just keep
Right.
putting some out there, I guess.
Yes, and it's like the relationship you have with your baby mom or baby father is going to have to determine it all. Because if you do decide to do that, it's like, how are you going to get all these kids to and be able to spend equal time with them and have every family on the
Yeah.
same kind of page to where it's okay? I don't know, because they're going to see their brothers and sisters and
Right.
birthdays and stuff like that. So it's going to be hard to coordinate. But I feel like 2022 people are kind of getting more in the hang of things and maybe able to swing those kind of things. People are having kids older.
But with 9 kids, how do you divide your time
Oh
to give
shoot.
them that attention that they need or that
Mhm.
fatherly figure that they need as they grow up, especially if you're in Hollywood and
Yeah.
your hand is in so many different pockets. Like
Yep.
that's something interesting. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know
And
why he
that's
would want to keep having kids if he can't
I think
tend to
that's the
them.
pushback that he's getting. It's like, why do you keep doing this if you're not gonna have the time because you work so much. Like you do so much, you're not gonna have time to be there and be with your kids. Like I was watching this movie, well, I'm sure this is like based on a true story of this like NBA scout, but um Adam Sandler is playing this NBA scout that goes around the world trying to find international players for the Philadelphia 76ers. And the owner is like, you have to stay out here and do this. It's your job. But he's like, you know how many birthdays I missed of my daughters? Like, I missed 9 birthdays. She's like 12 now. I've missed 9 of her birthdays because I'm out here on the road trying to work to get to this dream position I may never reach. And I'm like in my 50s now. You know what I mean? And that's the same for Nick Cannon. He's going to be working. He's not going to want to stop accumulating this wealth. LeBron just reached $1 billion. People are becoming billionaires, especially Black people are becoming billionaires. And I'm sure Nick Cannon's going to want to do that. And how much time do you really have to spend with your kids?
But listen, even that kind of comes back to like our everyday lives, even though we're not famous. Like a lot of people are so career driven or, work all day that they don't make time for themselves or their kids or their partners or whatever it may be. And I think it's like lessons that we can take away and apply to our own selves too. Like, don't be like Nick Cannon.
Yeah. And I'm thinking right now, like kids are getting out of school for the summer. It's like, man, do parents still go to work now? It's like they've been working from home so long. Kids have been going to school in the house. They were staying home with them, but now it's like where everybody's back in the office and kids are home. How is that life now? Do we stay home? Do the jobs give the parents leeway to stay home now? It's a lot. I don't know. And Nick Cannon is definitely not getting that leeway. I mean, he may have a private jet, but I don't know how much time he can get between 9 kids and watching them grow up.
Right.
And I don't know if money can do that for him. Let's see. Transitioning. Let's talk about a relationship that didn't go so well. Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. Last episode, I did talk about the verdict. Johnny Depp did win a whole bunch of defamation cases against Amber Heard. She was basically saying that Johnny Depp was beating her, kind of like psychologically and mentally abusing her, or psychologically and physically abusing her, and kind of like slandering her name in Hollywood and just kind of like doing hella shit to her. Me personally, I think Johnny Depp did have his instances of being drunk and probably being under the influence a lot. He was a big star. He does like to tour with rock bands and shit like that. But in a lot of cases, he was saying that she was abusive as well, saying stuff to him. There was an instance where he almost lost his finger due to like a thrown bottle and broken glass. She made him cut his finger. And then she would hit him and he would say, I don't want to be abused. I'm going to call the cops. And she would say, like, you're a man. Don't be a pussy. They're not going to believe you that I'm beating on you or some shit like that. But nobody really believes Johnny Depp. And for years, we wonder where Johnny Depp has been. And, he's been taken out of a lot of movies. Disney dropped him from Pirates of the Caribbean. He was in a lot of stuff. Johnny Depp is in movies all the time. But after this trial was played out so publicly, it was in social media from weeks and weeks and weeks. Every time somebody took the stand, we saw testimonies from Johnny Depp, testimonies from Amber Heard. We finally got a verdict, and Johnny Depp was awarded $15 million in a defamation case. Amber Heard did win about $2 million because Johnny Depp's lawyers put some statements out in the public about her, which defamed her character, they say. So they awarded her $2 million. But if you assess that and take that from the 15 she already owes Johnny Depp, she really just owes him $13 million now. How do you feel about the verdict after all that?
It's such a touchy subject. I just wish that same attention that the media puts on Johnny Depp was put on cases where women have been abused and they want to highlight it that way and they want to support the woman that way. It's so interesting that there was this massive support for Johnny Depp, but there's been other cases where women are accusing men, like the Me Too movement, all that stuff, but it wasn't as highlighted, right? I don't think TikTok was out during that time, but still that was really interesting. Personally, I feel like from what I've heard and what I've learned, they were both in very toxic, harmful relationships. It's a shame that, people have to go through that or endure that at all, and that at least Johnny's name was cleared so that there was highlight that, there was abuse on both ends. It wasn't just on one or the other. I think that was what was made clear. I think that there's some justice for whoever was wronged, and there was a lot of evidence that pointed to like a lot of things that Amber said weren't true, and I found that really interesting, which makes it harder for women who are telling the truth in the long run. In the future, like they'll just use some case like this and be like, oh, you're lying and this, that, and the other. It just makes it harder. It's a very touchy subject, right? Like as a woman, if I ever put myself in someone else's shoes and accuse someone of being abusive, one, I'd want to be honest and truthful, and not abuse that power in a sense that women may or may not have. So it was really interesting to just see the massive attention that it got. And it wasn't really highlighted before that either. Like, he was accused a long time ago of
Long time
abuse,
ago.
and then
Yeah.
Johnny is just now suing back because he wants some like justice, because he wasn't the only one abusive in the relationship. She was also abusive in the relationship. So
Right.
it's just so interesting how that all played out. Hopefully Johnny can bounce back. I don't know if he's going to go back to Disney. I heard that he wasn't, but that Disney wants him back because Pirates of the Caribbean makes so much money. But I think
That's funny.
that it'll be interesting to see his shift in character and what kind of characters he does play after this, because before that, I think Pirates of the Caribbean was one of the more mainstream ones, but he did like Edward Scissorhands, he did like Willy Wonka, he did different ones that were just kind of, I wonder if that's going to affect him and change like the kind of characters he goes after post this case. I don't know. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, he did do a lot of kind of like, I think those roles are more the alley he'll be able to go on now, just because they're the more submissive kind of roles. I think he'll do less of the public enemy, less of the Blow. That movie was iconic. Less movies like that to where they show him in any kind of way abusing women. They're probably gonna keep him away from that and do more of the Disney stuff. People love him anyways. And you did bring something to my attention with saying what you said, because this did kind of seem like a campaign to show that men can be innocent in Me Too situations, less so of an actual domestic violence case. Because they did put a whole bunch of attention towards this, unlike any other domestic violence case that I've ever heard of in Hollywood. Like, they didn't put these trials on TikTok or put these trials on Twitter, that where you can see it live happening. It's just kind of weird to me. And it definitely was happening on both sides, definitely, but it more so just kind of made it seem like, okay, yeah, because they called her the Jussie Smollett of domestic violence. Like, it was stuff like that going around, and it does kind of cheapen like some of these other women that are going to come out and kind of like say shit's been going on that may have been going on, and now it's just kind of sad to see. But I'm happy this trial is done, because just throwing a whole bunch of shit in their personal lives out there in the public eye, like, who cares what she was doing with James Franco? Who cares about her shitting in his bed for missing his birthday party or missing her birthday party? Like, all this shit is just embarrassing shit that's just coming out now for no reason. That is, I don't know. It's just kind of gonna, just like I said, just cheapen these other allegations that these guys, these women have against these public figures. They're going to be, again, scared to come out because shit like this is going to happen, and publicly everybody's going to take this celebrity side. And again, we're on this teeter-totter of what's true and what's not true. It's just wild. And then it also brings forth cases like the one I don't know if we talked about it already, but I did mention Deshaun Watson, quarterback now of the Cleveland Browns. He's been accused, over 66 women now of asking for inappropriate things at these massage parlors, forcing them to do explicit acts against their will. There's been 22 accusations at first. And even though those accusations were happening, Cleveland Browns decided to sign him for $230 million, making him the highest paid guaranteed quarterback contract ever in NFL history, which is kind of crazy with these allegations still sitting out there. And it feels like the team obviously didn't go interview any of these women to see if these allegations were true, because now there's 66 women, and they said that he's broached these favors, these massages with happy endings over 100 times. And his lawyer went out publicly to say, I don't know, he said that asking for happy endings isn't illegal, only when you pay for them, which really hurts his case even more. This man is trying to play football. and a suspension is already kind of expected for him. But now these cases that people kind of say maybe he is being attacked, since this all happened in Houston, he didn't want to play for Houston, and maybe Houston's throwing these allegations against him so he can't play for another team. But now it's like 66 women. This has to be true now. This man has to be a monster. How do you feel about this?
Well, I think even if one woman says that is true, right? Again, like media likes to support men. It's easier to support men. It's easier to dismiss women because women are seen less than, something that I made a point on earlier. It's unfortunate because I don't think that the NFL is going to do anything about it. I don't think that they care. I mean, I don't think that they care about social justice issues in general. And so it'd be great if they took a stand, but I don't think that they're going to like take away any of his power, any of his money, anything like that. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's disgusting that he's asking for these happy endings, but it's not unheard of. You know, a lot of people get this thing in their mind where like that's acceptable, or like
it's wild.
You know, the media like tells it it's okay, but I think that's really gross.
Right.
Plus, you're rich and famous. Like, can't you like
and probably have a girlfriend?
I don't get it. I don't get the need for that. As maybe it's a fantasy thing. I don't know, but
it goes all the way up the ladder, because actually the New England Patriots owner actually got caught at a massage parlor, and it was known for going there and get happy endings. And he got caught doing that. So it goes all the way up the ladder. And of course, the owner's not gonna get nothing but a slap on the wrist. But this guy, there's cases of them saying that he's made them do things that they didn't sign up to do. There's places where you probably can pay to get that done, but there's other places where that he's hitting them up on Instagram. They've came over and he's, solicited this stuff kind of like without their knowledge and kind of made them do stuff. And it's kind of wild, man. This stuff is just now coming out. They put a paper out in the New York Times now. A big investigation is going down. So he might not even be able to play this year after they just paid him all this money. I'm sure they're regretting that now. And if he actually did all this stuff, he needs to be in jail. And he definitely needs to be in jail, because he shouldn't be rewarded for doing this kind of stuff. And that seems to be what's happening right now.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah. Let's get into this last topic here before we have to go into commercial break, because just gotta do a commercial break real quick. I'm running out of water. Let's talk about Jada Pinkett and the Red Table. She just had this new Red Table talk come out. She said she wanted to talk about alopecia and how that affected her and how it affected people in the world. And she also, at the end of the introduction, said that she hopes that her husband, Will Smith, and Chris Rock can mend fences and come together and be friends again. To me, I felt a way about it, because I felt like she was making it seem like it was partially Chris Rock's fault too. The joke was bad. I feel like if she may have felt some way about her alopecia, but him getting hit in the face, I feel like he should take all the time in the world that he needs to forgive Will Smith for doing that so publicly. And I think I was listening to Charlamagne the God on the Breakfast Club, and he said she ain't playing fair by doing that though. She said, I'm gonna get an episode on Red Table Talk about alopecia. I'm gonna get people on here that had real life struggles about it. And at the end, you guys should mend fences. I don't know. How you feel about that?
I saw the episode. I think that the episode shouldn't talk about why Will slapped Chris or any of that. She just said, I hope they make amends, like you mentioned. The rest of the episode kind of focused on people's stories and how that affects them in their life. I think that violence is never the answer, right? Like, if you're upset about something, whether she told Will or something or not, that's speculation. There's other ways to address your feelings getting hurt other than violence. That's my opinion on that. I don't think that should have gotten hit. I think that the episode in itself was really eye-opening. I never knew about this. I never knew how people are affected by it. It's really sad. There's a lot of bullying that goes on. That's really what it comes down to. And that really can come down to just people's feelings getting hurt. And so hurt people, right? Like if you're going through stuff, you're gonna bully some other person. If you're going through stuff and someone jokingly says something that might hurt you and offend you in a way that wasn't intended, and it's just about how you get through it. But some people aren't able to get through it. I don't know if you saw the episode, but it was really sad. Like there was like a 12-year-old girl who was going through that, and she ended up taking her life away because kids were just bullying her. She would wear a wig to work, school, and it's just really sad. Like it's unfortunate that we can't just respect other people, and we don't know how to navigate our feelings and be able to communicate how we feel to other people in a healthy way. Right?
Yeah,
Not
for
violence.
sure. Exactly. And I always thought comedy was kind of that safe space to be like, okay, I'm gonna make a joke, but you know it's a joke and it's not supposed to come from a super hateful place, especially at these shows where everybody can get in the audience, where usually in the Oscars we go through, we're gonna point out everybody and kind of get at them. But there was history, I guess, of him making jokes about her that year they were protesting the Oscars. So there was history behind it and stuff like that.
I feel like comedy is really delicate. Like comedy will try and make light of really serious topics, and it can either be a hit or a miss. Or sometimes, you know, you're being really offensive to a community by saying really offensive things, like the Dave Chappelle thing, right? Like it's really tricky to be a comedian. I think it's like you have to tiptoe or you have to go head on and tackle some of these really hard topics. I don't know that Chris Rock's joke was, when I heard what he actually said, I didn't immediately think about what Jada was going through. I thought of just Jane, bald-headed Jane. I didn't think about everything else that she may have been going through because I didn't even know she was going through that. So for me, I was like, wait a minute, like I didn't even know like why that would have been so offensive. And again, you know, like sometimes when I go to comedy shows and they just continue to hit the same like areas, like, oh, gay, politics, women, abortions, things like that, like it's could get repetitive and old, and it's like try something new. But anyway, again, like my tidbit about comedians is like it's a really delicate thing to do and to deliver and to be funny. You're gonna probably be offensive 50% of the time.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of do respect the comedians that can navigate that. Kevin, who said this? Cat Williams said, because people were talking about comedians and cancel culture and stuff like that. He was like, cancel culture shouldn't really exist because you should be good enough at your job to navigate the waters without being super offensive to where you need to get canceled. You know what I mean? And I think Kevin Hart's able to do that. He's making a bunch of money off his shows. Like he talks about himself and his family without going too far into it. Dave Chappelle, he takes it to another level, but I feel like me personally, I feel like he has a writing room, it's more so writing, shock factor, and kind of personal experience, more so than coming from the heart and being hateful. I'm sure there's comedians out there that are out in comedy clubs that only certain people go to, a certain crowd that people know where they can get away with certain type of stuff. But I feel like if you're a comedian, and unless you're just, I don't know, those comedians that can just kind of go for it and just say whatever they want just because they know they're going to be offensive to everybody all equally, I feel like I can be okay with that. If you can be offensive to everybody all equally, but if you kind of can't be creative and just hit the same points, same shit every time, it's like, dude, all right, we heard this, we know. It just seems like now you generally don't like this group of people. So
you're saying if you're going to be a comedian, offend everybody, not just one set of community.
And yourself included. I mean, to show that the hatred, you're not hating on somebody, you're just giving levity to a situation or making jokes in spite of everybody, not just one group of people. Then you can if you're genuinely funny, then everybody will see that and not just be like, oh, this person's just fucking stupid. Because people are there to laugh. If they're coming there to laugh, then they'll understand what's going on. And if they bought your tickets, they know what kind of comedian you are. You know what I mean? But all in all, we'll be right back. It's the Best of Bias podcast. I don't want to cut you off or anything like that. We'll be right back. I'm going to get me something to drink because my mouth is dry, as you can see. Give me 5 minutes here and I'll be right back. It's the Best of Bias podcast. Yeah.
I tell lil' mama hit my line if she really wanna fuck with me now, 'cause I'm on. I tell lil' mama hit my line if she really wanna come fuck with me now, 'cause I'm on. I hear lil' mama make her feel it in her soul. I hear lil' mama make her feel it in her soul. I give her dick and she won't ever leave me alone.
What's up, everybody? We back. I just had to get some water real quick. I told y'all, man, that H2O does your body good. Drink your water out there, folks. If you don't drink water, drink milk. Yeah, people still drink milk out there. I don't know. Klay Thompson said it's good for your bones. He said chocolate milk helps him be a good shooter, so I drink chocolate milk. You going for the Warriors? Yeah, of course. I just want to talk some shit. I'm going for the Celtics. God damn it. Yeah, it's just that you guys win championships all the time. Let somebody else win, gosh.
We didn't always though, and those are the real fans.
Yeah,
You know them.
that's true. That's true. But 6 out of the last 8 championships is a lot to see y'all on TV all the time. It's like, damn. Anyways, moving on to the last couple. You do deserve it. They hard working. I respect Steph Curry, man. He put the bay on his back. He's been serving for a long time now. Got drafted late in the draft. Nobody really expected him to be what he is now. For him to have 43 points in the last performance, man, if he wins Finals MVP, is well deserved, and you got to put him in the top 10 of all time. Absolutely. I said that last episode, and I mean it. I'm gonna stand on that. But you got to win first. God damn it. Let me see. Okay, speaking of opinions and bias opinions, it's the best of bias. I have to bring this out. Ryan Clark on Twitter, after he got off of First Take in the morning, tweeted something some people say is blasphemous. I wanted to get your take on this. I'll put it on the Instagram, on the Best of Bias Instagram. If you guys aren't on there often, you better be on there. I drop questions and stuff like this all the time. I need some responses, you know what I'm saying? I need some fan engagement, if you will. But he said that Michael, or Chris Brown, if you will, is more talented than Michael Jackson. Talented, I mean overall talented than Michael Jackson. I looked at this and I was like, this man is kind of crazy for saying this, because one, you're gonna get killed for it in the public eye. But before I say anything, what do you feel about this? What do you feel?
Absolutely not. I mean, I get it. Chris Brown is talented, but better than, I don't know about that. That's a statement for sure. That's a no in my book. Chris Brown still has a lot to do and a lot to get done to really make that statement worthwhile. I mean, yeah. MJ's an icon. I don't think Chris Brown is an icon yet. Maybe he'll get there. I don't know.
He's still fairly young. I feel like he's still fairly young. I think he's maybe 33, 34. So Michael Jackson, well, it's kind of sad he did only live to his 50s, so he had a lot more to probably offer as well. But I think overall, Michael Jackson,
MJ started when he was young, like
yeah. He started when he was like 7. Chris Brown started when he was like, what,
15 or something? Yeah, in his teens. Like, no, you still got
I don't think Chris Brown got an amusement park. I don't think he has an amusement park at his crib. And just the sales and stuff alone, that people were actually selling albums back then, and he was going platinum when that actually meant something. I mean, he gets streamed a lot. Chris Brown has done a lot, but I feel like he doesn't have the Thriller album.
But like MJ's like power, like he bought people's catalogs. Didn't he buy like Eminem's catalog or something like that? Like I think crazy stuff like that. Yeah. Like, does Chris Brown even have power like that? I don't know. I don't think so.
But when I think people are actually giving him the benefit of the doubt when it comes to overall talent, it's because he can like fucking do acrobatics, can dance, can graffiti. I don't know, can act. I don't know. So they're giving him they're saying that he's more talented, well-rounded. But when it comes down to musically, where it actually matters, I don't think Chris Brown is there yet, me personally. Like I said, I don't think I've seen a Thriller album yet. Dancing, I can arguably say that I think Chris Brown is probably better at the dancing part of it.
I mean, but Chris Brown was influenced by MJ heavily.
Yeah,
One of his videos paid homage to MJ's video. So
absolutely.
like,
Absolutely. I forgot which one exactly it was, but I can see it in my head.
yeah.
But yeah, I know that singing wise, I think Michael Jackson had way more range and definitely, yeah. But it's like I could see where the comparison could come in. It's like a lot of similar trajectory. Both really big pop, but both had allegations. So I can see, but everybody want to compare to people to like Chris Brown right now. I think he's still, though he
Yeah.
is doing a lot of shit right now, I think he needs to have the longevity of the career first, and then I think later on we'll see what kind of shit he has compared to Michael Jackson and some of the greats. Because
I agree.
versus right now they're kind of saying that nobody in R&B can put a catalog up of Chris Brown, and I'm like, there's still people that could, I think, do it. I think just give Chris Brown some more time. He has an album coming out on the 24th, so you don't know it's gonna be on that. Just let him have his time to simmer. Let Chris Brown do his thing before you try to put him up against greats. Before people start bashing his name.
But who would you put him up with now? Like
Uh,
currently?
Usher. And that's the where it gets really, really kind of like debatable. People even then are like, fuck, like Usher might beat him in a verses of 20 songs. So Usher is all I can say, because Usher is still talented. I think he can bust out a song right now. I don't think there's anybody else. We already know who it is on the female side.
I mean, but I think maybe that's why he's also getting all this like attention or credit. Like he is very talented. There isn't many people you could put him up against now, which is why he's getting compared
Right.
to some icons or some legends. But yeah.
I still think, yeah, because freaking we had this discussion on the podcast before about male R&B. It's like a lot of the good R&B is coming from the women's side. There's not really a artist you can put your finger on that's really killing it on the male R&B side. That are not like super newcomers, people that have been doing it for a long time besides Chris Brown. But I don't know. Even he has to go to gimmicks to rapping and stuff to still sell and shit like that. I don't think it's pure R&B.
True. I was gonna say, but has R&B always been female dominated? Because I feel like that switched in the 90s. Like before that, it was very male dominated, like male groups, like just I remember listening to a lot of male, like it was until 90s, early 2000s when that R&B shift to like women really came into play, which I think is a great thing. Like,
me too.
I want to hear more stuff I can,
this
I can relate
matter.
to.
Yeah, concept matter. These guys we talk about, it don't be nothing. It don't be nothing compared to the perspective and what they be storytelling. These guys' songs about sex.
Well, some guys know how to get their emotions in there, like August. Like some people really just know how to, throw that in there, but other people just keep it very surface level. And I think the people who can get deeper build a bigger fan base because women are listening to R&B too. Like, I don't know. It's just, yeah. But to say that Chris Brown is better than, to say that he's better than MJ, I think he's still got a lot of work to do to put in.
Yeah.
So that's a no.
Yeah, and I definitely feel like it's a good way to stir up the waters again. Good on you, Ryan Clark, trying to get that topic out there and getting a lot of viewers to your podcast. Everybody probably looked up, who's Ryan Clark now? And they found out who he was after that question. Let's get into this one real quick. Actually, let's talk about this first. A woman throws her boyfriend's mom's ashes into the lake out of anger. She got arrested for it, but she put it on Instagram of her throwing the ashes over a bridge into the water. The whole what do you call it? Vase or urn, I would say. The urn, yeah. She started dumping it off into the lake, and she just threw the whole thing. And I guess because she wanted to be on video. I've seen abundance of these videos of women that may have gotten cheated on or something. I'm sure it was bad what the guy did to you, but if you're gonna do something to these guys, don't put it on social media. You're gonna get caught up no matter what. You're gonna get caught up. Excuse me. I've seen many videos of these girls cutting up these guys' shoes, beating up their apartment with baseball bats, beating up their TVs, beating up their systems, throwing them out of windows, beating up their cars, and in this situation, throwing the urn into the water. If we see your face on camera, the police are going to be able to do that. And you're damaging property, anything over $1,000 is a felony, you're going to go to jail. I mean, let alone if the guy did something this bad. I know he probably did because niggas be crazy sometimes. But most of the time, let me say most of the time. But sheesh, don't incriminate yourselves. It's just like all these people now with lyrics and stuff incriminating yourself. Just stop. Anyways, how do you feel about this?
Mad disrespectful, mad. Like there's a line, right? Like, yeah, I've been upset. Yeah, I've done some things, but that is the most disrespectful thing you could have ever done. Like when I saw that on my timeline, I was like, oh, like, what did the person do? That's what I kind of wanted to know. Like, what did the person do for this outcome to have been like, you throw this person's mom's ashes out in the river? That don't make no sense. And it's just mad disrespectful. Like, that is a line you just don't cross. I feel like that everybody has a mom. That is irreplaceable. Like
I'm about to say you
cars,
can't get that
TVs,
back.
you
Yeah.
cannot get that back. Like you can replace TVs, you can replace cars, you can, you have insurance on most things. But that is like sacred almost. Like how that is crossing a line. Do we ever find out what he did? Like
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think they don't really, tell that
yeah,
information when it comes to us of
but
the African American persuasion. It's like, they did something, they in jail. But yeah,
yeah.
okay.
I mean, I think you made a good point. Don't put it on social media. And if you do, be careful because then like there's revenge porn or whatever, right? Like it could just escalate and it could
Spiral.
go down
Yeah.
this rabbit hole you don't want to even go
Yeah.
down. Like you don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And it's kind of crazy because how much jail time do you think she deserves for this? Like,
That's a
what's
great
appropriate?
question.
What's
Right. Like,
appropriate?
how do you measure that? I don't know. Definitely, like, how old is she? Like, at least 20, 30, 40 years.
She's
I
like
don't know. How do you
25,
put a price tag to that?
Texas woman, 25. I don't know, man. It should be a pretty high because that's one thing that should. I'm not a guy that's for murder or anything, but the anger level that could cause, I think you may have to like you put her in handcuffs and let people just punch her in the face, the family punch her in the face a couple times or something. I
I
don't
don't know
know.
about all that, but she
I don't know.
definitely crossed the line. I don't agree with those actions. I don't know what the price tag is for something like that. But like again, like it's like going into someone's cemetery, digging up their parent and like, I don't know, burning the coffin. I don't know. It's just like extreme. You just don't think about it because it's in an urn like that, but it's an
Mm,
extreme
mm, mm, mm.
action to do. Like
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah.
you could she got arrested just for damaging property. Is that what it is? And can you own a person's ashes? I don't know. It gets a little complicated, but
Yeah. I don't know. It's still considered a person since they're I don't
yeah.
know. It gets a little wild, but I don't know. Hopefully she just learns a lesson. No, no handcuffs, no punches. Just I don't know. Just
I would
whatever.
want to know what he did though. Like, can you imagine? What do you have to do to get someone to cross that line? That's
If a
what I'm
person's
wondering.
crazy enough, not that much. Maybe get her car towed, and she ain't got money to get it out the tow yard. That can rack up, put somebody over the edge, especially in Texas. I don't know, but I'm sure it has something. I'm hoping, not hoping that she got cheated on, but I'm hoping it's something super extreme. Will make her want to do something that crazy.
Yeah.
Uh, I think we need to talk about healing and a positive affirmation. So I'm going to walk us into love language. I did read something about love languages. There's 5 of these things.
Mhm.
I just wanted to see. I told the Best of Bias listeners I am a words of affirmation kind of guy. I like to be kind of told that I've done a good job, or when I do something for somebody, I get the thank you or the recognition of me going out of my way to do something for somebody, or just me being recognized in general. Is the stuff I like. There is 5 love languages. I don't know if you're familiar. Number 1 is words of affirmation. 2 is quality time. 3 is receiving gifts. 4 acts of service. And 5 is physical touch. Which one of these would you consider yourself?
Well, it's actually you bring this up, and I'm really glad that we're talking about it. This is actually something me and my fiance took a quiz on. You can take a quiz on, people. It's a free quiz. And it'll tell you in order from ranking 1 to 5 which love language you are.
Mhm.
And we did that pretty early on so that we could learn how to like love each other best. And so interestingly enough, one of mine is gifts. I don't know why. I'm not materialistic, but when I was doing some self-exploring, I realized that, you know, when I was younger, my family would give me gifts as like their way of showing me that they love me. Like we didn't have a lot, and so when I did receive a gift, it meant a lot to me. And so that's one of them. For my fiance is acts of service. So like I do something for him, whether that's giving him a back rub or, you know, I drive us somewhere, something like that. Like those kinds of things are really helpful. And in case you didn't know, there's an app. So it's called Nudge, and it's all linked back to the affirmations, or I'm sorry, the love languages. And you can download the app and you'll have each other's, you know, top 5 or whatever it is, and it'll set reminders like, hey, remind you to do act of service for so and so, and then
Cool.
they can pick like, oh, you can do the dishes for me, like that's an act of service, or hey, I would like flowers like once a month or something like that, and it'll remind each other, and then you can see it fill up, and it's really nice because you don't have to think about it as much, right, like another to-do list. But it's also kind of nice to see and track like how you guys are loving each other. It's interesting.
That is very interesting. Absolutely. I need to see what's going on with that, because I know about me, but I don't know about Veronica that much and how much, you know, what her affirmation is. I need to ask her that when she gets home. So maybe I can download that app and kind of be reminded. Sometimes I do kind of need that reminder too. Maybe she's feeling some kind of way and I don't necessarily know that. So maybe I can go ahead and you know, get that reminder. So it's like, maybe go out of your way, do this today and make her feel better. And that could be positive for the relationship. Again, I am more of a words of affirmation kind of guy. I don't really need much. I'm kind of simple. I just don't like going around wondering like, am I doing the right thing? Or is this person mad? Am I doing enough to make this person happy at this point in time? So me personally, I like it when, you know, I do something nice, I do something good, thank you, or just you don't even have to say thank you. I don't even need to thank you. I'm not like super like that, but it's just like, it's kind of making it aware that I was thinking about you. So thank you for thinking about me type of thing. Shoot, acts of service, I guess that kind of ties into, I like doing things for people to get those kind of like words of affirmation. But I don't really need to be physically touched. I don't really like to be touched that often.
I love PDA. Hug me, kiss me, hold my hand.
Yeah, it's fine for sure. It's just like I don't need it all the time. It's like,
but if you haven't had that conversation with your partner, is really telling, like then you'll know what to do or what not to do. And the app is called Love Nudge, and it's really helpful for those things too. Like you'll be able to get a reminder. I think my fiance has a reminder to like compliment me every so often.
That's cool though, because then shoot, compliments can go a long way. Me personally, I work with all women, and it's hard for me to give compliments without kind of seeming kind of creepy. So I just kind of like keep it to myself. But I do like to give off compliments because I do like to see the look in person's face when they do get complimented, because everybody deserves a compliment from time to time. Best of biased listeners, turn to your nearest neighbor right now and compliment them. Tell them something you like about them today. Bring a smile to their face, because everybody deserves one. You know what I mean? This world is crazy right now, and bring some love to it. Study these affirmations, find one that fits you in your relationship, and let's spread some love in this world. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Does that sound good? Hell
yes.
yeah. Hell yeah. So basically, this is a part of the episode where I like to let the people know where they can find you at and what you got going, just in case they want to check you out and look you up or something like that.
Ooh, okay. Well, I'm on Instagram, Simple Just Smile, and that's about it. That's where you can find me.
Everybody's is always super short and sweet. One of these days, I'm gonna get somebody that has a lot to say. Pretty Ugly and them always have their mixtapes and stuff to listen to. Said and Done PC. I can promote that for y'all since AKA ain't here. But me, you know where to find me at. It's SAC_Lydell on the Instagram, Patrick_Lydell on the Snapchat. Best of Bias, you can find us everywhere. YouTube, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about it. Leave some comments. Let us know who you want on the podcast. Let me know who I need to talk to, because I need people to bring their bias to the show. You know, spread the love around here, bring people into the bias family. What else we got? The website, It's still up there if you want to check some videos out from the past episodes. We still got both podcast platforms going. The Best of Bias podcast has episodes 1 through 98. Best of Bias podcast has episodes 99 through what is now 119. This episode's 119. 119 episodes. We getting there. Special guest, Jen in the house. It's gonna be a special one. Merch. We got all the merch. You see the hat back there. You see the hat on my head. Dad hats, beanies, all that shit. We got shirts coming soon. I'm telling you, these anime Kumite shirts that I got coming out will be fire. So you're gonna want to lock down one as soon as you can. But as of now, just hit me up in the DM, see what you need. I got it. You know what I'm saying? Happy Pride Month to everyone out there. What else? What else is there? You got anything else to say to people before we get up out of here?
Love is love. Be kind and choose peace.
Choose peace, choose love. It's the Best of Bias podcast. Where the hell my theme song at? It's right here. We out.
It's the best of bias. You need the earful, you should try us. From pop culture to the movies to Unitas. It's the best of bias. Your best of bias. Yeah.